mom died 15 years ago, and that was the most stressful part of my life. I was so sad and alone, and you might have experienced that too. The loss of a loved one is one of life's most stressful events, and it can cause a major emotional crisis. How people react to death varies enormously, and it is not possible to predict what a person's reaction will be. A range of emotions may be experienced from anger, shock, disbelief, to sadness, and even long-term depression. All these emotions are normal, but if long-term, it can be a source of mental health problems. There are a few practical steps you can take to help someone get through the bereavement process. A number of actions that bereaved people can take on their own or with a loved one that may help them cope up. This will be the focus of our discussion this evening with former Dean of Arts and Humanities, a registered guidance counselor, and has a doctorate in psychology. She has been through death and bereavement too on the passing of his beloved husband last year. But with a good mental health state and coping mechanism, she had gone through it, and she will gladly share to you the secrets. In this evening's episode, we have our resource speaker, Dr. Flor Villa Marticio.
Freedom's calling, chains are falling, hope is dawning, bright and true. Day is breaking, night is quaking, God is making all things new. Jesus saves. Hear the hearts of heaven beating. Jesus saves, Jesus saves, and the hush of mercy breathing. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Hear the host of angels sing, glory to the newborn King, and the sounding joy repeating, Jesus saves. See the homeless hearts adore Him, Jesus saves, Jesus saves. And the wisest bow before Him, Jesus saves, Jesus saves. See the sky alive with praise, melting darkness in His place. There is light forevermore in Jesus saves. He will live our sorrow sharing, Jesus saves, Jesus saves. He will die our burden bearing, Jesus saves, Jesus saves. It is done, we'll shout the cross, Christ has paid redemption's cost, while the empty tombs declaring, Jesus saves.
Life has different stages, and the most painful is death. But the other side of death reminds us of how precious life is. According to LCU or Life Change Unit, the loss of a loved one is life's stressful event and can cause a major emotional crisis. After the death of someone you love, you experience severe emotional pains. Whether the death is unexpected or not, you may experience negative emotions such as denial, disbelief, confusion, shock, sadness, anger, humiliation, despair, and guilt. These feelings are normal and common reactions to loss. You may not be prepared for the intensity and duration of your emotions or how swiftly your moods may change. You may even doubt the stability of your mental health. But be assured that these feelings are healthy and appropriate and will help you come to terms with your loss. It is not easy to cope when a loved one dies. You will mourn and grieve. It's a natural process you have to go through to accept a major loss. Mourning is personal and may last for months or years. Normal grieving could be from 6 months to 2 years. Your grief is likely to be expressed physically, emotionally, and psychologically. For instance, crying is a physical expression, while depression is a psychological expression. It is very important to allow yourself to express those feelings. Often, death is a subject that is avoided, ignored, or denied. At first, it may seem helpful to separate yourself from the pain. But you cannot avoid grieving forever. For you to have a better understanding of death and bereavement, allow me to share with you the 7 stages of grief by Kimberly Holland. The first stage, according to her, is the shock and denial. This is the stage of disbelief and numb feelings. Oh no, this could not be. No, I'm not losing my husband. I'm not losing my child. No. But actually, the reality is that death has entered your life. Denial. Shock. Number 2 is pain and guilt. You may feel that the loss is unbearable and that you are making other people's lives harder because of your feelings and needs. You have that kind of feeling that because you are crying, you feel guilty that your children, might also feel the pain. Although they are already in pain, you are still guilty that because of you, they are also suffering from that painful emotion. Number 3 is anger and bargaining. You may tell God that you will do anything if only your wish would be granted. Lord, I will always attend church if you will just, spare the life of my husband. If you will just spare the life of my parents. I will be faithful with my tithe. Starting Saturday, if only my husband would be revived from this fatal illness. Bargaining. And the next one is depression. Here is the stage when little by little the reality has get in. So you already know fully 100% that you already lost your husband, you already lost your child, or whoever is very close to you. So you are starting to feel depressed. You are starting to feel lonely. And so you have the tendency to isolate yourself and reflect on the loss of your loved one. Okay? So that is what we call depression. Extreme sadness, or extreme loneliness. Next stage to depression is the upward turn. After being depressed, after accepting that you really lost that person you love too much, you're now starting to go up. Upward turn. At this point, the stages of grief like anger and pain have died down a little bit, and you are left in a more calm and relaxed state. Number 6 is reconstruction and working through. You can begin to put pieces of your life back together and carry forward because you have accepted that you already lost the person you love so much. Now you're starting to build up again because you have already built a castle together with your spouse, and now it has turned down and was broken into pieces. Now you're putting back the pieces little by little, one by one. No? So this is the stage of working through. And the last stage is acceptance and hope. This is a very gradual acceptance of the new way of life and the feeling of possibility in the future. You have now that great hope that death is a part of life, and that as long as we are here in this world, we would experience death, and that you would long for that day when the Lord would be coming back to bring back to life the people whom we have lost. And I know, friends, that will not be very long. It will be very soon. Those who are grieving like me, let's not grieve forever because we have that blessed hope. The Lord is coming very soon. The signs are around us. Don't expect that if you have reached the 7th stage, which is acceptance, totally healed, and you will no longer feel the pain of loss. It is okay that you go back to any of the stages, and that is normal. Just let your feelings go. Maybe you are already on the 7th stage, but you are wondering why. Am I still normal? Because how come I'm being depressed again? No? I thought I have accepted the loss of my spouse. No, it's normal to go back to any of the stages. And you could even go back to stage number 1, which is denial. No, not this time. So, or probably on the bargaining stage. Oh, I wish my spouse did not leave me. I'm not ready at this time. I hope his life or her life was extended until even a month or even a week. No, still on bargaining. So you could either, be on any of the stages, even though you have reached the 7th stage, which is acceptance and hope. Okay, a research was done in Rice University regarding widows and widowers with elevated grief. The result showed that with elevated grief symptoms, they suffer up to 17% higher levels of bodily inflammation. The effects of grief in the body increases inflammation, which can worsen health problems you already have. And it can also cause new ones. It batters the immune system, leaving you depleted and vulnerable to infection. The heartbreak of grief can increase blood pressure and the risk of blood clots. Another effect of grief is in the brain. When you are grieving, a flood of neurochemicals and hormones dance around in your head. There can be a disruption in hormones that results in specific symptoms such as disturbed sleep, loss of appetite, fatigue, and anxiety. And we don't want to experience this. So what should we do? Here are some simple things that we could do. Number 1, understand that humans are hardwired to cope with loss and that the normal response to loss is resilience. What is resilience? It is the ability to bounce back after a crisis or the ability to return to pre-crisis status quickly. Most people get through tough times without requiring any kind of outside intervention. Number 2, ask yourself, is what I'm doing, the way I'm thinking, and the way I'm acting helping or helping me in my quest to get through this tough time? Try to see yourself from a distance and be as objective as possible. This will help support good decision making. Number 3, choose where you focus your attention. Negative emotions are plentiful in grief. It's important to remember what is still good in your life. When you're going through grief, find the good things that happened, even with the loss of your loved one. At present, a lot of people are experiencing grief due to the high rate of death caused by the pandemic. You are lucky if you are spared of this negative emotion. But for sure, we have a relative or a friend or a neighbor who is suffering from grief. And what can we do to help? Here are some tips that might be of help. 1, don't expect the bereaved to be mind readers. Ask how you can help. Physically, maybe pull the weeds in their garden, or water their plants, or cook a meal for the family. Emotionally, give a shoulder to cry on. Listen as they reminisce about their loved one. Another one, through social support, is talk or walk with them. Of course, with safety protocols, or just being there virtually is important. Give a call once in a while. See how they are doing. See how he or she is coping with the loss. Matthew 22:37-39, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Allow them to tell their story. Listen. Letting them tell their story over and over again helps them integrate what has happened. James 1:19 says, Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. And the last but not the least is seek hope. Ask them, now that all hope is lost for your loved one who passed away, what are you hoping for now? Let them know that we don't only have one hope in life, but our lives are made of many smaller hopes. Lamentations 3:21-23 says, Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. To conclude my talk today, let me share how I coped with my personal grief. Of course, I was devastated with the experienced loss of my husband. With the extreme loneliness, I got sick a week after the funeral and was lonely confined in the hospital without any visitor for 4 days. But I thought of my children and my grandchildren. It might be too much for them if I also would be lost. So I prayed hard and remembered resilient grieving. And what is resilient grieving? It is focusing on what you can do, providing a toolkit of ways to think and act that can help us cope with our sadness and loss. Resilient grieving is focusing on what you can do to make you feel a little better it is important to choose your company in times of grief. Be with people who can lift you up, people who can understand your situation, people who also lost someone they love, and people who could stay by your side when you need them. Another one is to join a caring group. Social support is another factor that can help a grieving person recover fast. You will have the feeling that you are not alone. In my case, I was invited to join a care group organized by the North Philippine Union Conference, the Caring Singles once again. I do not know if you have heard it. It facilitated my healing because we have similar experiences. We do a lot of sharing regarding how we cope up with our loss. From there, we found new friends virtually. That pandemic did not become a hindrance. Another one is the care of your body. A person who is lonely and depressed has the tendency to neglect hygiene. I didn't care about how I looked and how I smelled, thinking that anyway, my source of inspiration is gone. My children noticed me, so they encouraged me to visit the parlor again. Aside from the physical appearance, my health was also affected, the reason why I got sick and hospitalized. Remembering that our body is the temple of God changed my attitude. Another one is to be helpful to others. If we focus on ourselves, we might develop self-pity, which will drag us to depression. Let us forget ourselves. Instead, let us be sensitive around us and look for people who are in need of help. The more you help others, the more you will forget about your own negative emotions. Research say that the happiest people in the world are those who extend their help to others and not how much money you have in the bank. Another one is to activate positive emotions. Positive emotions lead us to build our skills and improve our well-being. People who divert their negative thoughts and emotions to positive emotions in their everyday lives tend to be happier, healthier, and learn better and get along well with others. Another one is practice mindfulness. Mindfulness involves self-awareness, awareness of your surroundings, and the ability to exist in your current space without judgment. It improves your working memory. It expands your focus and gives you a better mood. Through routine mindfulness practice, meditators can reduce inflammatory responses and better cope with the discomfort at the root of chronic pain. One is move towards your goal. Probably, you and your spouse have set goals to have a happy retirement. Unfortunately, death came unexpectedly, so you can hardly move on. You are not used to accomplish things. Without the person, you cannot live without. Your tendency is to stop where he left you. Don't be discouraged. Do your best to continue what your goals are for your well-being, for your mental health, and feel the success of accomplishing something even without your loved one. The Lord has a lot of beautiful promises that would help us overcome our grief, overcome our loneliness. And Psalms 34:18 says, "The Lord is near to those who have a broken heart and saves such as have a contrite spirit." Another one is found in Matthew 5:4. "Blessed are those that mourn, for they shall be comforted." And the last text that I'd like to share with you is found in Revelations 21:4. "And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away." Oh, there. Thank you so much. And I hope you benefited from my talk today.